Pump start decoder. If you have an electrically activated pump start, you're going to need a pump start decoder. And the H2O pump start decoder is like a light switch that works in combination with a 24-volt power source to operate the pump station. As you can see from our installation instructions, the pump start decoder sits on the 2-wire path and then dictates when it passes the 24 volts from the transformer onto the pump relay. So it's notable that you're going to need power at the pump as part of the installation. And again, we'll have two demonstrations, one showing you how to assign the pump start decoder the correct address, and then another showing you how to assign the pump start in the WeatherTrack program. Next up, we have our pump start decoder, part number WTWH20-PS for pump start. Again, we have the installation guide that has the wiring diagram and the warning about using the proper wire connectors. When we look in the bag, we see all of the proper wire connectors, or the DBRY-6 wire connections that we use on every connection on the device. And here we have the pump start decoder, where we have the black and red wire that will wire into 2-wire path. And on this side, the 3 wires that we have are gray, white with black stripes, and gray with black stripes. So I'll begin showing you the process of assigning the right address to that pump start decoder. We begin the process by plugging the decoder into the station programming module on the board of the 2-wire controller and plugging in the red wire on the decoder into the port labeled red and the black wire on the decoder into the port labeled black. Then we'll hit the setup button and advance with the forward arrow until we get to the screen setup 15, a screen called configure H2O 2-wire. Then you'll use the plus and minus button until the screen displays the message program decoders. Then push the select button. Then following the directions on the screen, when we hit star, the controller will read the decoder plugged into the programming port. Notice here that the controller automatically identifies this as a pump start decoder, and you'll see the address PS1 appear as your first option. If you are managing multiple pumps on multiple points of connection, you might need to use the plus or minus key to identify this decoder as PS2, 3, or 4. But for our demonstration, we want to assign this decoder as pump start 1 or PS1. So when PS1 is displayed on the screen, we'll hit the star button, and that will allow us to select the power level for this decoder. Again, the default is low and should work in most applications. After you sign off on the power level, you'll hit the star button one more time, and that will assign that address to that decoder. Then, just like on the other decoders, you'll see the message programming successful, and the screen will display the color code for the wiring of the pump start decoder. Then, after we disconnect the decoder from the controller and label it up, it's ready to be installed in the field, and we're ready for the second step of programming. And again, the pump start decoder will come with the default programming of PS1 or for the first pump start, and you'll have specific programming to program in the second, third, or fourth pump start if you have multiple points of connection that you manage. You also need to program the controller with which station operates the pump start, and this is where we get into a very distinct difference between the WeatherTrack conventional wire systems and the WeatherTrack H2O 2-wire systems. With a conventional system, you're allowed to select any station and assign it as your pump start. And in contrast, the H2O 2-wire system requires a specific station to be programmed as your pump start. So where with a conventional wire system you can choose whatever station you want, on an H2O 2-wire, if you want to assign the pump start to the first point of connection, you have to assign that as station 1. So station 1 will be the pump start for the POC 1. And station 2 will be the pump start for POC 2. You can either change this on the program page at weathertrack.net or standing at the controller. If you're standing at the controller, you want to go to the flow menu, and if you hit the forward arrow one time, it takes you to your flow options. And on flow options, you're going to use the plus and minus button to look for a flow option called points of connection. And when points of connection is displayed, you'll push the forward arrow, and that will take you to where you manage the components for the individual points of connection. So here you see that you're managing POC 1, and you see all of the different components on this POC. If I hit the forward arrow one time and advance the cursor underneath master valve, I can select the normally open or normally closed master valve. Then I advance to under FS1, or flow sensor 1, and this is where I can turn on or off the flow sensor. One more push of the forward arrow brings the cursor underneath PS1, or pump start 1. In this example, this is the setting I'm looking for to assign station 1 as the pump start for POC1 on my 2-wire path.